So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read Genesis chapter 1. So this message is based out of Genesis chapter 1. Okay? Now, I want you all to pay very careful attention because this is important. All right? Now, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Elohim, moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Now, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the Spirit of God, now listen. Okay? I want you all to know something very, very important. What I'm about to say to you all is extremely, extremely, extremely important. Oh man, everybody read Genesis 1. Oh yeah, you have read it. But there are some things that went over your head. Now, he created the heavens and the earth. What are the heavens? Okay. So, the heavens are the air, right? The lofty, meaning high, right? That's what the heavens are, right? Now, for many of you whom are listening to this message, many of you, like I said, I'm a nerd now. I'm about to be a nerd. Okay, if that's what you all want to call it. Some of you call this nerd shit, cornball shit, right? Foolishness. You don't want to hear it, right? Specifically a lot of women, right? The Hebraic comprehension for heavens is shamayim. 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 Okay? All right. Let me explain. So, heaven is Hebrews 8064. Heaven is Hebrew 8064. So, what is heaven exactly? It says here, Shamayim, dual of an unused singular. They switched a lot of these definitions up. They flipped and bounced them a little bit, right? From an unused root meaning to be lofty. Lofty meaning high. The sky as a loft. The dual perhaps alluding to the visible arch in which the clouds move. The dual perhaps alluding to the visible arch in which the clouds move, as well as to the higher ether, where the celestial bodies revolve. Air, idiom. So, first of all, we all have to remember that outer space, as NASA confirms, not the word confirmed because that would mean it's true, as NASA alleges, outer space is above the altitude, above the atmosphere of the Earth. Now, I told you all before, and I'm going to tell you Negroes, you Caucasians, you Arabs, you Chinese people, you Japanese people, all of your scientists and all of your nations. I'm going to tell you all this once, as I've told you all before. NASA is a liar. And many of you scientists are very foolish. And there is no way through that dome. There is no way. A young lady walked by dressed like a kitty cat. I don't know what that's about there. But anyway, there's no way through that dome in the sky. It's impossible. The only person that can open that dome is Christ. That's it. That's it. Now, I told y'all. Now, y'all don't have to believe it if you all want to. I've already verified it in the scriptures. Outer space is falsehood. As NASA has gave it to us, it's a lie. Now, you all can fight against it if you want to. I don't care. I don't care at the end of the day. Outer space, they get from the outer limits of the planet, which we are only able to reach. I'm going to repeat that. There are outer limits to this planet that we have never seen and have not seen and won't see unless you become magnified like one of the angels. Oh, this is cornball shit. This is where you all cut it off at now. This is not cool. Girls just want to have fun. And some of you feminine men, this ain't gun in your mouth talk. So you can log off now. But what I'm speaking to you is the truth. Now, this message is powerful. Now, I want you to listen. I don't care about how you feel. I'm not trying to appeal to any of you all. I'm trying to give you all the love of Yahushua Elohim so that you can know who your creator is. The true outer space, we live in a diameter upon this earth that's only 28,000 miles across. We cannot we cannot surface the entire Pacific Ocean, and there are some areas in the Atlantic Ocean that we are not allowed to go. The Bermuda Triangle is a very dangerous place. It could be a portal. Don't quote me because I've never been there. Because apparently if I've been there, I wouldn't be sitting here. And you can't really ask these scientists, quote unquote, because if they're here to talk about it, they've never been there. Why? Because it's a very dangerous place, and it's a place where no man can tread. Thus saith Yahuwah. How do we know this? Because no one's ever returned. Nothing's ever returned from the Bermuda Triangle. So how will we ever know what it is? It could be a portal. It's just a suggestion. It could be low. It could be low density. It could be a multiplication of things. There are also some areas around the mountain where that Earnhardt guy or whether it was a man or a woman, disappeared. They're flying their plane around there, around Earnhardt. Search it up for yourself. A pilot, Einhart, Earnhardt, flying his or her plane. I can't even remember if it was a man or a woman. They were flying their plane around somewhere. Never seen them again, right? Some say the plane crashed, but they never found the plane, nonetheless, right? There are areas, there are specific places in this planet that we are not allowed to go. The Antarctic ice wall, you can't get over it. I promise you can't. You can go try if you want to. Now, I'm not saying that scientists haven't been down there, because they won't even let you go certain areas around there, right? Because it's top secret, right? Because it's the proof of Christ. It's the proof of Elohim. That's why. And the purpose of Satan and these governments and these what are they called? Archaeologists. These archaeologists, right, that have went to these sites, right? There are multiple sites where they found giant skeletal remains, and they've dug up these remains and they took them and they hid them. They used to be in the Museum of America. Not the Museum of America. I forgot the museum. They had some of these bones, but they didn't put the real big ones in there. They only put the ones like 9, 10, 15. I think the most that they displayed was like, I think a 15-foot man or something like that. But they had larger skeletal remains. So much so, some of these skeletons were 20, 30, 40 feet tall. Right? Because that's why Christ brought the flood. Because of that's not what this is about, right? So, point I'm saying is, we're only to scour 28,000 miles across, but on each side of the 28,000 miles is outer space. Other parts of this earth that we can't get to, and we won't. Not even a scientist has been there. There are some parts that Christ just won't let you get to. You can't. We're unable to get there. Places like the Bermuda Triangle is protection from places like that. Places where Christ don't want you to be. So you can't come back with no evidence or go and tell people you saw this or you saw that. There's other parts of this planet. Oh my God, no. Christ don't want you to know about that. For those of you, that's why they had that movie, what's it called, The Outer World and stuff like that. They got movies about this stuff. We're only allowed to see 28,000 miles across, west and east, and some odd 1,000 miles north and south. That's it. There are outer space, outer limits of the earth. This earth, the entire earth, has never been seen. Now, it's very important that I said that. Okay? So, now, we're talking about the Shamayim. So the Hebrew word for heaven is Shamayim, meaning lofty, high, the sky, the heavens. Now, I want to school y'all to something. My job is to school you Negroes. Then we're going to go to the second verse, where it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Now, the earth. So, in the beginning, he created the heaven and the earth. So now, the heavens are created, and the earth is created by the time we get to verse 2. They're created. So, mind you, There are waters above this planet. Waters above this planet and waters beneath this planet. And waters that surround this planet. This planet has a dome over it and is encased in water. As I've said before, waters so much so advanced that would make the Pacific Ocean look like one of these. Now, I told you all this before. The flood that came, the flood that happened, was a cataclysmic deluge beyond comprehension. I'm talking nerd talk now. This is quote unquote, this is corny shit, this is nerd talk. That's because you are a carnal people, and society and the elitists have spent so much money to carnalize your mind of thought, to desensitize and lower your frequency, that this shit ain't cool to you. When this should be the peak of your study, specifically if you're an Israelite. Not the latest tea in the rap world or the entertainment world or Will and Jada, which all of that shit is a hoax. It's all for, I'm not saying the man is not having trouble in his marriage. I personally don't care. If he is, send up a prayer for the brother. But if or if not, which I can care less, at the end of the day, it's publicized to be a distraction. And why is it always another Israelite? Black people have been the center of attention. Why? Because there's nothing to influence black people like black people. We're not influenced by white people. They're corny to us, quote unquote. We're not influenced by the Arabs, except for their religion. Many of you foolishly accept their religion. Other than that, the Arabs aren't fun. The Chinaman isn't fun. We like their kung fu. It's not even really their kung fu. But I'm not going to get into all that. The Japanese was not a first samurai. The first samurai was an Israelite. An Israelite created the art of the samurai. But I'm not going to get into all of these things. You people need to understand who you are according to the scriptures. You Negroes and you Negroettes, understand who you are according to the scripture. Awake out of your slumber. Now, verse 2, the heavens and the earth are created. Now, verse 1, let me tell you something. Verse 1 is a sentence. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven. Some of y'all like, we'll never get through the chapter the way I have to do it this way. I want you all to understand. I want you all to know Yahushua HaMashiach. This is an excellent message. Just stay tuned. It's funny because verse 1, in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Oh, but there's so much happened while he was doing that. That just says it's not detailed. It just says in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Bam, 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 that's it. But it's not detailed. In any event, I'll get back to that. But let's keep going. So now, in verse 2, everything is created. Well, not everything, but the heavens are created and the earth is created. So then it says, but the earth was without form, and the earth was without form. Now, why was the earth without form? I'm about to school y'all. Listen, because this is deep. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. and the spirit, the ruach of the power, the ruach eleth moved upon the face of the waters. The reason why the earth was without form was because everything was water. Water has no form. Now, listen very carefully. Water, now, the power, the Ruach Eleth, Yahuwah, he created everything. But water, everything comes from water. Everything comes from Christ. Water comes from Christ. But that's the surface. We all know that. But I want to get a little deeper. I want to get a little technical. Christ created the water. But everything comes from water. Everything. Everything. Everything comes from water. Everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. Even the Spirit of God is water. But that's for volume 2. Now, I want y'all to listen. Because, man, this gets deep. So I want to show y'all something. So the word for heaven is shamayim. The word for water is mayim. It's just without the sha. So water is also the heavens. Water and air is the same thing. That's also volume 2. Volume 2 gonna knock your socks off. But right now, and the scripture is going to confirm science. But for this message, I'm going to do it backwards. Why? Because for you all's sakes, so that you can understand and so that you can become believers. I'm going to quote unquote let the white man, let science confirm the word. Only because the word that I'm going to come at you with is not in the original Bible. It's a lost scroll. And I'm going to prove this lost scroll, quote unquote, with the white man's science. Then you all will believe it, right? You all will believe it then. If I back it up with the white man's science, which many of you Negroes so faithfully hold tight to, which many of you Negroes and many of you other nations as well so tightly put your trust in, the science of the Caucasian, the science of the European, I'm going to prove this lost scroll with that science. But before we get there, so air, the high above is the shabayim, but water, the Hebraic word for water, is mayim. So, the waters are also heaven. Now, I want you to realize something. Everything was water when he created the heaven and the earth. He created the shamayim and the mayim. The shamayim was the air, and the mayim was the water. The water is also called the bottomless pit or the abyss. So that means that water is so deep. Christ calls it bottomless, but I believe there's an end. But it's an immeasurable end, meaning me and you as a people have no idea how deep down the water goes. We're not talking about the ocean on this planet, the ocean floor, because there's waters that are beneath the ocean floor. There's an entrance from the Dead Sea that leads to the abyss, which is the reason why you dumb Europeans, you better stay from the Red Sea. The Dead Sea. Because the Red Sea has a mouth that reaches the Shamayim. The Red Sea is also the mouth of the Shamayim, or it's the mouth of that's a different story too. But stay out of the Dead Sea, because there's a portal in the Dead Sea that takes you down and plunges you into the abyss, plunges you into the bottomless pit. Now, I've warned you scientists, I'm just a dumb nigger from the hood. And surely you say, with all of your man-made knowledge, we won't listen to him. He's just some dumb nigger from the hood. Don't listen to him. We'll just create a probe we'll create an unbreakable probe that can deal with all types of amount of pressure from the sea. Whatever. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just some dumb gray nigger from the hood. That's all I am. I don't know your big fancy words and all of these things. Okay? Now, Shamayim is the high above, and the Mayim is the waters. Where the Spirit of God was hovering over the deep. The Ruach Elef hovered over the deep, and the earth was without form and void, and it was void. So it had nothing on it, and it was formless, because water is formless. The only thing that was existing was the altitude and water, the heavens and the earth. The earth, as many of you think, will call earth the rock. Earth being rock. Well, rock came from water. So if many of you don't believe that rock is water, then all you have to do is think about concrete and cement. In order to make concrete and cement hard, you have to add water. That's because rock is water too. Everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything comes from water. Everything. Now, and God saw, now we go to verse 3 and 4. And God said, Elohim said, let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim divided the light from the darkness. So he divided the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, you all are going to be flabbergasted when you see what actually happened during the first day. I'm going to go to Enoch 2, the secrets of Enoch, and I'm going to start at verse 22. And we're going to get a more detailed, and I'm going to prove that this is the word of Elohim. Enoch 2, or the secrets of Enoch. We already know that the first scroll of Enoch is truth. Is it tampered with? Here and there. What isn't? They always have to tamper something, but for the most part, the word of Enoch stands firm. And I'm going to show you that a lot of this word here, the second Enoch, stands firm as well. I'll be right back.